Spotify. Seth VBDC told me that it's up on Spotify now. So if you guys like that song, look up a little higher on Spotify, and there it will be. You can listen to it for free. And hey, I am with RVD. It's one of a kind with RVD.
Sounds like that rhymes to me.
Hey, that brings me a lot of glee. So there we go. It is Super Bowl Sunday.
Is it?
No, next week is. But I was using bowl as in like bowl. So that was a little pun going on there that I was doing for promotional reasons. So we're speaking of, we have Get Blitzed, Mickey Ray Sinatra and his wife Courtney are partners, and they are our newest sponsor coming up. So I'll be talking about them later on, but go to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, and you get 15% off. So check that out. Help out the show in that way. But Rob, how are you doing today?
Fucking-lutely terrific, dude. Fantastic. Damn good. And we're doing the show on a different day today. I was traveling all day Thursday, so I'm glad we decided to do that because no time would have worked. I had a flight from Nolens to Denver, and then from Denver to Las Vegas, and my day changed dramatically as the day went on. So I was at Denver waiting for my departure to Vegas, and I went from 4:30 to 5:30 to 6:30 to 7:30 to 10:30 to 11:30, and then back down to 9:30. And you got to watch them because they do that. They do that a lot. And they catch me sometimes before I'm leaving home. In fact, they did that to Katie yesterday. Before we leave home, they says, "Oh, your plane's delayed." If you count on that and then they move it forward and you're not at the gate, then you're fucked. And we missed the flight about a month ago because of that. But I miss flights often. I can deal with it. It's stressful, adds a lot of crap to your trip. But what I did for Katie, because usually I don't leave time for this myself. I'm last minute running around throwing shit, jumping in the car. But since it wasn't me, it was Katie leaving because she's wrestling tonight in San Antonio.
Oh, really?
For RCW. Yeah. I just Googled her flight number and I just kept my eye on the whole plane. I said, it's not even in Long Beach yet. It still has to go to Long Beach and then expected to leave there to come to Vegas at this time. So that's a smart way to do it. And if you didn't know, you can do that.
How about that? I had no idea. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly where your plane is right now and what the estimations are, and you can keep up with it.
Wow, geez. Well, that's news to me because guess what, Rob? I'm heading to Vegas next week, actually. It was impromptu, because of the WrestleMania kickoffs happening. So they're having that huge press conference with The Rock and Roman Reigns and all the stars there. WWE and Triple H is going to be there and interview opportunities. So I booked a flight and I'll be there next week, so I should keep tabs on that.
That is Super Bowl Sunday? Or
that'll be Super Bowl week, so it'll be Thursday is when the big event for WWE's going on, the WrestleMania kickoff show.
Oh,
so, yeah. Cool. So I'll be right in the thick of the action, man.
Yeah, where's that at?
The T-Mobile Arena, so where the Golden Knights play the hockey team.
What are they doing? Is it a show? A wrestling
it's
show?
like a press conference, I think, basically, where they're doing some stuff, and then afterwards is the media events where they have interviews and all that stuff, so I was like, I should probably be there if I'm media. So,
well, hey, let's bring on our guest, right down the middle, my man, my fam, the Rob Van Dam Manager of the Year, Fonzie Daddy. Bring him on.
Hey, boys.
Fonzie, how are you?
I am 5-star, Daddy.
Yes.
Sweet.
Very nice. Very nice. Good to see you, Fonzie Daddy. What'd you think about that song?
I loved it.
Right.
Somebody wrote that for you?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's here watching the show probably. He always is.
Seth is here. Do I see Seth in the chat? Yes, I might.
So yeah, Daddy, what's going on with you, dude? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I will see you in April, maybe before. I'll see you in April. I'm there 3 days or 4 days in
WrestleCon, right? In Philadelphia. We're very familiar with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm there 3 days with Sabu. I'm with Sabu next week in Boston. I'm with him a couple times coming up. I'm working on weekends, staying busy. Monday through Thursday, I'm just chilling in my little villa with my beautiful, tall, blonde Hungarian wife, which I adore.
How are you enjoying the married life?
I love it, RVD.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I might pick Sabu up from the airport later tonight. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, if I could do it. I said cool. So as long as he follows up with some info, I get the info I got so far is he gets in at 10 or 11. So that's not very much info to go by yet, but it's early here. It's early here. Fonzie, I don't know if you know this or not, but RVD wrestled last week on AEW, totally crushed it. Don't know what kind of noise makes your ears or not, Daddy, but, this was the next loudest news to the McMahon scandal.
I had a lot of people message me on my social media and say, hey, RVD's on. So by the time I put it on, you were just finishing up. So I kind of missed it. But very cool. Very cool. I
thought that might happen. That's why I asked Dom if we could show a couple of highlights on here. And then he was worried if we show it, there could be a copyright.
Right. We'll get you'll get a warning on your channel and all this malarkey. I was like, better be safe than sorry.
RVD Daddy, I was on a show about 4 or 5 months ago, and a guy came up to me. His name was QT Marshall, and he worked for Tony Khan. He was like in the office. He said, hey, my name's QT Marshall. Fonzie, your name came up in a production meeting. I said, oh, great. What do I do? He said, just hold on. So I held on. So I see him like 2 or 3 months later. He said, hey, Fonzie. I said, yeah, I remember you, QT Marshall. He said, your name came up again in another production meeting. So that's 2 times. So if you want to drop my name to Tony Khan and see what's going on, I don't mind.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on that, Van Dam.
Yeah, Rob, how do you feel about, after it's all said and done, going into the match, all that stuff? How do you feel about it? Having that match with Swerve?
Yeah, man, I really liked working with him, and I really enjoyed the match. I had a little extra time because they booked it and then they pushed it back a week, which changed the location from Savannah to New Orleans. But they had this match in mind that they were wanting to bring me in for, and I looked up Swerve on YouTube, looked at it for a minute, and I just knew, I was like, man, I dig this guy's vibe, and we're gonna have a fucking kick-ass match. And I understood the assignment, so I came in to punish him, hardcore style. I thought it went all really well. I haven't watched it yet. I've seen just some highlights, but someone earlier told me that the end got cut off, and now I would understand. I saw some complaints on social media about I can't remember what they call the extra time bump feed. What are they?
Overrun.
Overrun, yeah. And I saw Tony had put a tweet out. This was when I was leaving the building or something. So it was that night. It was at the moment, real time. I remember seeing he put something out about, hey, everyone, and thanks TNT for giving us an overrun, whatever. It sounded positive, and then all the fans were complaining. I hate it when you do this every time, and I didn't understand why. But so I was like, I thought, doesn't it do that every week? Like I thought on TBS it always goes from 8:05 to 10:05 or whatever.
It used to do that. Yeah, I don't know. They might have changed it, or I know recently they've been going I think they even had a 30-minute overrun at one point or 15 minutes or something.
Whoa, yeah, that's either way. I don't know. I might not have got the finish, but I loved it. I had fun, and people said they could tell that I was having fun. They know me, and got a lot of people talking. Lots of good stuff. People are blown away. So glad to inspire. One comment I said, because I had all day, as I explained, to Denver waiting for my plane. And so I tweeted a lot, and I was on there, and I was like, "Why is nobody talking about Billy Gunn? Everyone's talking about, what? Like I reached God status, Fonzie. That's the way they put it. Someone saw me after the match on Wednesday, and they said I was driving here, and I saw on my Twitter, Rob reached God status tonight. And I was like, what? I got to see that." But I was like, "Why is anyone talking about Billy Gunn? He looks fucking great." And he's like
60, right?
Right. But then a couple of comments said they are, Rob. People are talking about him. And so I'm like, okay, good. Because I didn't hear it, but they're just not projecting that at me. But damn, The Rock is 58. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's in pretty damn good shape too. So glad to be up there among those that inspire, because you read through the comments, there's always somebody that wants to be that guy, oh, great. Then one guy,
Like there's always some guy that wants to be that.
Blows out a lot, he blows up, but like why would you even want to be that negative guy? Besides the fact that you're wrong, but even if that is your opinion, but anyway, we can talk about that shit later.
Yeah, for sure. Rob, real quick before we get to Fonzie and stuff a little bit too, what was like your interaction backstage with Swerve or whoever that you interacted with that you got the chance to like shoot the shit with her basically?
Good, dude. I get a lot of respect there, obviously. And I'm a lot. I was telling Katie, it's weird, but I'm more comfortable there than I am at WWE, and maybe if it feels less grandioso, like it has a very important indie vibe that's like cranked up to like boom, it's TV day, but it's not the same as the pressure. At least it doesn't seem like it around WWE. And by that, I mean like the agenda of what your job is to do throughout the whole day seems less complicated as opposed to sometimes there's backsides and different sides to your job that involve how you treat certain people or who you talk to or whatever that you got to take a while to learn, to look around. And there's different sides. It's three-dimensional. It's not a flat fucking piece of paper with an assignment on it. And I don't know if that explains it, but besides that, I also am at a different stage in my career, but still, I don't know, still just even being like at WWE, it's just like everyone feels like they're so pressured up and thinking about what they got to do, their part on the show and all that. And that's, that's typical in certain areas of performance arts. So, it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, I talked to John Morrison quite a while. I talked to Taz for quite a while. And everybody was super cool.
Well, what was Tony Khan's reaction to the match? Do you enjoy it? And did he give you any feedback or have any interaction with him after the match when it was all said and done?
He said it was fantastic, I think. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much he saw it because I think that he acted more excited at other times at the other matches, but I have to agree, like Brian Cage said, this was my best AEW match that I've had so far. So, so I don't know, like how if he was distracted or what, but he definitely liked it. Said it was fantastic, and I'm sure he's gotten a lot of feedback from the fans as well.
Yeah. Speaking of Brian Cage, what the fuck? Why did he attacked you? You just praised him on here a couple weeks ago. You said how much you liked him, and then he attacked you.
Yeah. Well, I know how to separate personal from business, and one thing that I like about this all the way through is, well, kind of gives them a reason to bring me back now, doesn't it?
I think so. And hey, you never know. Maybe we'll see Fonzie show up there too at Become All Elite at some point in time, huh? How about that?
Right down the middle, Daddy.
Right down the middle, baby. You got a lot of ties, don't you, in AEW? Talk about your relationship with Rob, how it kind of all started there, and then with Taz, too.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, you, Fonzie.
Fonzie, were you were managing Taz when me and Sabu wrestled him, then he just came over and then switched to manage us, right? Or no?
Right. When I originally, Paul Heyman called me. I just left WWF at the time.
Okay.
And I was out of Vince let me go because business had went down a little bit. He says, Fonzie, we're gonna let you go, and when business picks back up, we may bring you back in. Thank you, and we'll use you when we come to Florida, and so on and so on. So about a month later, I get a phone call from Paul Heyman, and I knew Paul from WCW and Florida Championship Wrestling. And Paul said, hey, Fonzie, since you just left Vince and Vince wants a doctor, his wife, and the 2 kids are ringside, I got this idea. We got this company called ECW. I said, what the fuck's an ECW? I've never worked an indie show in my life. I thought it was some type of indie show. This is hardcore. We want you to come in and be anti-ECW since you just were with WWF and so on. So I came in, and I was supposed to come in for 4 weeks and get chokeslammed by 911, and I was done.
Oh.
But the gimmick, my referee gimmick got over a little bit, and for some reason, Paul Heyman thought it'd be a good idea to put me with Taz, because Taz had about 5 gimmicks and never really sprouted, never became a big star until he became Taz. Not because they put it with me. He was Monkey Boy Tasmania with different things, and then he came out as Taz. And Paul Heyman put me with Taz. That was about a year, almost about a year, and Taz didn't really need me because he could talk, he could do promos, and then Paul Heyman, we did the switch on the first pay-per-view, I think, and put me with Sabu, because Sabu wouldn't talk, and I was a mouthpiece, and so on, and then I got connected with Van Dam, and we had that 2-year run with the longest TV champion. It was great. So I had a 5-year run. It's supposed to be 4 weeks, but it ended up being a 5-year run. And from out of that, I'm still working to this day. ECW has that cult-like following still. And I've known, I've been a referee since 1978, been around the world and refereed WrestleManias and Tokyo Dome and all that. But they know me as that, but they know more of my character from ECW. So that's why I turned.
Oh, Fonzie's still there?
Froze, Daddy. We don't know.
On up. He froze on up.
Turned.
Maybe you got a phone call on there or something.
Fancy, Daddy.
Okay, so, okay, I'm back on.
You're back. Your screen's frozen, but you're back. Oh, there you are. We got you.
I lost you for a second. So I ended up being, so they put me with Van Dam, and for some reason I clicked with Van Dam, and of course he didn't need me. Van Dam's was the whole effing show, and that was true. Sabu was fantastic, and Suicidal Homicidal had his own thing, but Van Dam is a very unique character, and there's nobody like Van Dam. He has, I call his thighs and his legs and his ability redwood trees, because I've never seen any. He does the best 5-star frog splash in the business. Very unique and very cool too. So I just had a fantastic time with Van Dam, and we did a lot together.
I used to like jumping over you to do the frog splash.
Right?
That was fun.
Right? It was what we call the Japan. What we call the move, the Ventura, where you jump from turnbuckle to turnbuckle and held the chair, Ventura.
Yeah, Terminator.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, that's something that sometime I'm gonna have to bust that out just because it's been a minute since I've done it.
Bring it on out.
Every once in a while I do that, and I haven't done a Northern Lights suplex in like at least 10 years. I think I'll do one tonight. That's what happens when you're not wrestling every night. I can change it up a little bit and think of some shit I haven't done in a long time. But that's how that came about.
Nice. Well,
I had a great run, and Van Dam didn't need me at all. But for some reason, we clicked, and they kept me with Van Dam. And thanks, RVD, for
sharing. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was cool because like the aspect is like, Rob, your skill set is so unique, and you know, fans pop for that kind of thing. But we mentioned it on an earlier podcast where we covered you. Fonzie was saying like how you brought that heel, more of that heat to Rob and to Sabu and stuff like that, and got that across because you're constantly whistling. It was WrestlePalooza. We were watching the one in Georgia where Rob and Sabu wrestled one another, and you're just constantly whistling the whole time. And it's just like, it added to like, oh, that Fonzie's got to shut the F up. Like, all that kind of thing you're thinking of. So it really,
after a while, I added on to be a heel and all that. And that was kind of what they wanted.
Yeah.
But we became characters. We became beloved characters. You know, they loved us after a while. So it just changed. It was for the better. So it was really cool. But I enjoyed
interacting off of your energy. Brought me out of my shell and helped me to do promos. Because when I first went to ECW, I was too shy. I didn't have anything to say, and I didn't want to go anywhere near the promo room. I remember Paul telling me, you know, no, just come in and check it out one time. You know, you don't feel like you're going to be pressured to do anything. Just see what we do, you know, and check it out, you know. But it was after doing all the promos with you that I started feeling more comfortable of, I guess you gave me something to say because you were, you know, countering my energy so much that I'm like, Daddy, we're trying to get to the same place, but relax, you know.
We were ad-libbing. You know, as a referee, I refereed for 20-something years before I got to ECW. And how many promos did I do as a referee? 10. You know, you know, that explain something or whatever. So my first time coming in, and Paul Heyman wanted me to do a promo, and I couldn't. I did 2 takes, take 3, take 4. Then I became. So I said, Paul, I don't know how to do a promo. He said, just act like a shoot. You know you're going to be in Philadelphia. You know you're fighting Taz, Van Dam fighting Taz. You know that we're at we're there. Just treat it like a shoot. So now I'm One Take Fonzie. Treat it like a shoot. I talk about my guy with tree trunks, Van Dam, the whole effing show, and Sabu, and it would make my job easy. And I love doing the promos, and I ended up being reasonably doing them well.
How did you feel jumping into the manager role too? Like, was that kind of like nerve-wracking for you, going from referee to like being a manager?
You would think it would be, but I had been around the business since 1978, and I started in May of '95 in ECW, and then, you know, about 4 weeks into that, I became a manager with Taz, and it was just some type of natural flow. Paul Heyman seemed something in me, and, you know, I was just being Fonzie around all these great guys. In fact, I just got the Gary Hart Award Manager of the Year from a company that I work for in Florida, CCW. Kind of reminded me of a young ECW with a company. So it was just a flow. I didn't know I could do it. And I, you know, and how could I not be good? I was with Van Dam and Sabu, you know. If I was the shits, they you know, didn't work. I had to be reasonably well. And
you would have just got chokeslammed by 911 and then been out of there.
Right, exactly.
And do you have any Pat Patterson or Mel Phillips experiences you'd like to share with us?
No, I do have a Pat Patterson if you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, WrestleMania 9, it was Giant Gonzalez against The Undertaker in one of the main events, and I was Giant Gonzalez's personal assistant for 3 years, the largest athlete on the planet. It was very cool, and I got a couple of stories to tell you about that you guys might like. Like a week before WrestleMania, we did a spot show somewhere, WWF, and it was Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez. They wanted to do the same match they would do at WrestleMania, and the finish was I get chokeslammed by Giant Gonzalez. And he's almost 8 foot tall, and when I'm up there, he's, you know, I'm like 15 foot in the air, And instead of letting me float down, he pushes me down as hard as he can. Bam! Knocked me out, concussion. I was out cold. They carried me back to the dressing room. And finally, I came around, and Pat Patterson followed me in the shower and was watching me. He said, "Oh, I'm going to just make sure you're okay." I don't know if he molested me or not. I don't think so.
You were concussed.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't remember.
Right. I was kidding. And I don't know if he took advantage of me or not, but God bless Pat. You know what I mean? But he sure did follow me in the bathroom. I remember that much.
And you have a loss of memory of then what happened. I do remember. I do remember you telling me this before.
He would have jacked me off or something, but that didn't happen. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. But he sure did.
Would you have been the pitcher or the catcher?
I wouldn't let it happen. I like girls too much.
Well, Bill, what do you think about the or Fonzie? Fonzie, what do you think about the Vince McMahon allegations and everything like that? Did you have any thoughts on that?
Golly, I don't know what to say. I don't want to get no heat on Vince, but he's bringing it upon himself. You know, I guess he got so eccentric, and my goodness.
One thing that I came to terms with, when I was thinking about, like, how could I even describe how I feel when I'm asked about this, is that for me, because I've heard opposite. Now I've heard opposite. First, I heard nothing negative about the girl, and I was like, wow, I'm so surprised people aren't attacking her. Today, I heard a lot of people attacking her and the opposite perspective, of what it was portrayed as before. But anyway, for me, one thing I'm sure about is if all this is true, all the stuff that was happening, whether it was consensual or not, I'm still very disturbed and disgusted by it.
It's some dark stuff. Like, there's just no way around it. Like, in that regard, it's crazy. It really is.
And at that point, I think that makes me judgmental. If there's no crime and they're consensual and they're both into this stuff that's happening, then I am judging them. But like I said before, we do judge other people by our own values. And if you think you don't, I can tell you, I can find a line that you'll draw. Like, some people say, hey, if whatever, people get kinky and if they're freaks sexually, whatever, as long as it's two adults, but that's just it, two adults. What if you draw the line? Everybody almost seems to draw the line. And if kids are involved, then automatically people want to execute them. And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, a policeman, and it was just interesting because I was just playing devil's advocate. Like, why? If somebody, thank God I'm not into kids, but there are a lot of people that are, and to try to think of what their defense would be, how could they not look at it as if we're judging them by our own values and we're saying, hey, if two grown people want to take a dump on each other and they're both into it, that's okay. But when there's a 15-year-old involved, it's too much, or that's okay. A 14-year-old is too much, or that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that line isn't always going to be in the same spot for everybody because we all have different values. But it seems pretty universal when you start talking about kids. People get really defensive about no, never. And I wonder if that's a parental drive that most people have that makes us want to grow up and have kids and reproduce and be protective and be fathers. Because, I've always said I've never really had that parental drive. And I'm definitely not sticking up for pedos or sharing their perspective, but I can open my mind up to look at it enough and ask why, just because I'm curious, what is the answer? Why is that line the line that is uncrossable? And for an example, just one more point I'll say real quick. My friend I was talking to earlier, that's a police officer, you know him, Fonzie, but he ain't watching this, so he don't care. I'll bust him out. We were having this conversation about, he was saying how, like, when he arrests he works with informants, and he was, and you know, doesn't respect snitches, you know, and that's always been a little bit of a paradox for me, because he would respect a gangster that says, hey, I did the crime, I'm going to do this time, I'm not going to bring my friends in and snitch on them. He would respect that over someone snitching, but at the same time, isn't that obstructing justice? And if it's snitching, isn't that really reporting murders and crimes and solving maybe grief issues with families that don't know what happened? And through talking to him, he respects the loyalty over that. He's like, oh, they just kill each other anyway. You know, if you're in the life, then what do you expect? And so I was like, okay, so even murder. So you don't draw the line at murder, on snitching on a murder. What if somebody said, no, I'm not going to stooge on my accomplices, and it was a pedophile ring of pedos, you know? No, absolutely not. Never. Interesting. You draw the line there that, you know, would never be okay. If it's kids, you should tell on them. You got to fucking stop that. Boom, boom. But murder, So I'm a lot more open-minded than a lot of people can handle. And I'm definitely not saying that I'm defending them, but I like to bring that thought to the table and just see, you know, what perspectives people have on that.
I think with kids, it's the innocence of them. Like, they're naive and they don't have the adult experience in life to experience that. So like they're just an innocent party that people have taken advantage of and things like that. So I think when that starts coming into play, everybody's just like, no way. And like, yeah, it's just,
I think 99% of the planet thinks that way. That is about the kids, you know, the murder and the mafia and all that. So nobody likes the stooge, but on the kids, I'm all against that. And
yeah.
But not everyone has the same value. So is it weird? I always say it's wrong for us to assume that anybody else shares our same values. And with something like this, you know, and sadly, you could be in a room with 50 people and have this conversation. There might be a couple of pedos in there that might be keeping quiet because they are into that or whatever. I certainly know the more I hear about it, the more I realize how common it is, you know, especially with
crazy to hear you. How much you hear about it. It's insane. Yeah.
And then when you go back further in time, it seems like it was a lot more accepted. You know what I mean? And I believe is it Ohio or Kentucky? I think you can still get married at 15, you know, and it's like I said, the line isn't going to be in the same place with everybody. And when it comes to, like, if it's 99% of us that agree, you know, that the kids are an absolute, you know, don't touch, where does that come from? Why, you know, is that embedded in us? Because I know I want to protect anyone that's weaker than me, whether it's a female. I feel obligated to protect females, which a lot of men wouldn't. A lot of men wouldn't think physically, though. You know what I mean? You know, you see a situation, and a lot of people will be like, man, he should have fucking knocked that guy out, right? If someone did that to my woman, no way I would take that. I understand, okay, that's how you would react. A lot of people don't react with physical violence. They just don't. And at this stage in my life, I know that. I wouldn't have known that years ago, but now I'm not going to blame you if your first thought isn't to go punch somebody that just did you wrong, even if it felt warranted or whatever. Oh, kind of fuck it. You got to. If you're going to be a man, you got to answer that. You know, it's like, well, if you're trying to be you, you know, but that's just taking a bigger, open-minded look at everything.
Well, Rob, you told a story at WrestleMania week on a bus or something, and there was somebody that had a gun you saw or something like that, and you felt like obligated to do something almost, and stuff ended up working out, but it was like...
I jumped off the bus, and when I saw his gun, I started like reaching to it. I'm already thinking, like, am I going to, you know, what's going to happen? Is he going to pull this aggressively? Is he going to point that at anybody? But he made it very obvious he was putting it away in his trunk, and I let him do it. But I mean, yeah, it's just, I was the closest person to him. I put myself there. and that's just natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill, Fonzie, do you have any crazy stories like that when it comes to like being in wrestling and like the heat that gets picked up, like with fans back in the 70s and stuff like that? When you first kind of were getting in there, it was like any crazy, because I heard the stories like Terry Funk getting stabbed in like Puerto Rico by fans and certain shit like that all happening. Do you have any kind of crazy instances like that?
I don't think of some cool stuff that happened, but it was a different era, and of course, there were fans jumping in the ring and so on. But I can't think of nothing right offhand. But there's tons of stories like that.
I get called like that a lot of times when people want a story, and I'm like, oh, I got tons, But anyway, I was just thinking of how we got to where we were, and going back to it, like we were talking about kids and children, and I was saying how. You go back in time, it was more accepted. It seems like the further you go back in history, whether it was old movie stars from the 20s and 30s or men of importance, seem to love 14-year-old, 13-year-old girls. I don't know why, but what I was going to say was that even I've been on YouTube learning what I could about the allegations, and a lot of stuff would come up from the past, like in the early 90s, the Merv Griffin show and the Geraldo Rivera show, and Tom Cole, the ring boy that was accusing Mel Phillips, the ring announcer, of what he was doing, and all of that stuff. But anyway, back then, they thought it was okay to express their tongue-in-cheek humor about the situation by letting out little jokes during commentary, like there'd be a wrestler.
Those programs like the Phil Donahue or
when you were watching wrestling, you heard them and you didn't understand.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there'd be a wrestler in the ring and they'd say, oh, he comes, right out of the back door of Terry Garvin's School of Wrestling or whatever. I don't know if that's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, and you look back at it now, and not that it was okay then, but if it was at all funny then, it certainly fucking isn't now at all. And it's like that was how long ago? 30 years ago plus.
Yeah.
And already it was old news. It was already old news, So it's crazy to think, looking back at that the horribleness, how bad it was then, and to think that people could for 30 years continue on that pathway, and I don't think the world feels the same about it. Not that they were outraged then, but I don't think, in today's world, it's very much more unacceptable than it was in 1900, maybe even in 1970, even though it was really, really bad.
And in the wrestling business, we were almost like a secret society. We were really close knit, and nobody knew what we were doing, and maybe they thought that was all right, but now with social media and the worldwide news, you can hear something that happened in China from 20 minutes,
instantly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been going on for a long time, and the wrestling business has kept quiet for a long time, and held that secret. Now we're sports entertainment. I don't call it wrestling anymore ever. What do you do if I'm at a party with my wife? She's a nurse, and the doctors say, "Oh, Fonzie, what do you do for a living?" I say, "Oh, I was in sports entertainment."
You dropped my name, Daddy.
Yeah.
So one of the videos, or a few of the videos, but that I came across, not literally, that I watched on YouTube. Fonzie, have you ever seen the video of Roddy Piper talking about his experience with Pat Patterson when he was young?
No, but I've seen Piper on. I just saw a video with him and 4 other wrestlers on a talk show.
Was it Bill Maher? Was it Bill Maher? Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. What I was going to say about this video, though, it's so intense to watch, and he's so uncomfortable talking about it and everything that's the overriding tone. Watching it is like he's wiggling around in his chair like he's being tortured, looking away from Sean Oliver, when he and not just about the situation that's relevant here with talking about him being younger and whatever happened there, but also even just breaking kayfabe. I say that every week that we were a secret society, behind closed doors. He's so uncomfortable talking to Sean Oliver about anything about wrestling. He asked him a question about what was it like, to physically to work with someone like Andre the Giant in the ring, and Roddy's just like, I feel he was just like he was just like I never talk like this to anybody. Okay, and it was just like he was like dared to do it, and like someone had said, it's okay, Roddy, kayfabe is dead, and it was I respected him for that because that's what I got into was the end of that era, and if you look it up. It's like he's stooging on his friends for doing murders, and all he's doing is trying to describe how to sell to a crowd.
When I started May of 1980 for Florida Championship Wrestling, the heels and the baby faces got dressed in two different dressers. They never saw each other until they got in the ring. And Charlie Lay was the guy, one of the office guys. We would go pick up our check. He said, "Who are you riding with? You couldn't ride with a heel, and babyface couldn't ride together. You did that big trouble." Super kayfabe back in the day. Not like I say sports entertainment,
Fonzie, did you kind of wish it was kind of like that though? Like where it's like, the kayfabe was still, I know it's kind of harder in today's world.
The evolution has changed. It'll never be back like that. And I'm glad it's like it is now, more sports entertainment. It gives us more to do. That secret society used to get me in trouble because some guy would come up to me and say, "Oh, wrestling's fake." I'd have to slap him.
Yeah, right. You got to be like, all right, no, it's not.
And, I was we had the Holiday Inn in Philadelphia after ECW show, and we were checking in. I was sitting in the lobby, and I already checked in. There was a bunch of the guys checking in, and there was a rugby team checking in from Europe, and one of the rugby players was sitting right next to me, and he said, "Man, who were all those big guys over there?" I said, "I don't know. They look like wrestling or something." He said, "Oh, all that fake bullshit," and they defended me. For some reason, I said, and I made some stupid comment like, "Your mother's a fucking whore, you fucking asshole," and you fucking start beating me up for about 15 seconds, hitting me in the head. And New Jack said, "Hey, that guy's beating up Fonzie," and they beat the fuck out of that guy. But I started it. I could have been, it was sports entertainment, or something like that. But I got offended when he said, but he offended me the way he was saying it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like just disparaging or
like Bill Maher.
Right,
that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The difference was he probably didn't know that you were with the wrestler, so he wasn't intentionally offending you. Imagine when people talk to us like that and they're trying to offend us, how much harder it is. Because that's like the only reason this person said that, is to get a reaction out of me. So do I give it to him?
At all. He didn't know who I was at all.
Yeah.
So he didn't even mean to offend you.
It still offended me, and he didn't know, but
Daddy, I know. I traveled with you, Daddy. I know.
Rob,
old school.
Still one of the boys. Still one of the boys. Even if they don't know, they're gonna find out.
They'll find out one way or another. Rob, so like back in like when you were in ECW and like just in the late 90s and stuff like that, if like I'm sure you had those instances too where people would be like, "Oh, that fake shit" and stuff like that. How would you kind of respond to all that aspect? That's an awesome magazine cover, by the way.
I learned to deal with it. I learned as time goes by, I learned to deal with it a little bit better. It was starting to open up in 95, more of a sports entertainment, because when I left Vince, it was still, I was with Vince in WrestleMania 93, 92, 93, 94. and it was Worldwide Wrestling. Then he changed it to Worldwide Entertainment, and then I got with the entertainment value of it, and I just dealt with it a lot easier.
A lot easier. Rob, how about you? How did you handle that kind of stuff when you'd have somebody interaction, whether it was an athlete or whoever?
No, it was the same way, as Fonzie said, as a wrestler. I remember sometimes when I was so young that I was still like at parties, like high school-ish parties. And that's when me and my friend DeAngelo used to always look for fights and stuff. We were just stupid, but we were testing ourselves. But it's not a very, it's a destructive way, if you're going out with no rules or whatever. But we would always look for a challenge or whatever. But I remember one time just popped into my mind when we were telling them we're going to be pro wrestlers and there were some dudes who were making fun of us, and they didn't like. By the way, they didn't like we were there because we went there with their girlfriends that we met at the mall. And the girls brought us over to this house, and then these two dudes are over there drinking beer, and we're standing there like not leaving. But this one particular memory that I remember, we ended up wrestling, me and this dude out on the ground, and I actually couldn't take him. You know what I mean? So I didn't. On this particular memory that I'm remembering now, it wasn't like an ass beating, but I didn't defend the business very well. But I was 18, 17, whatever, but I forgot about this till now. But at least I fought, for it, it's just fake, and you want to find out, But usually, I don't have too many stories that end up with me not on top. That one just popped in my head, and who knows? It probably happened, but I know. Go ahead.
In a place where I don't bring up sports entertainment, so I don't get asked these silly questions.
Right.
And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But I kind of try to avoid it. And if I know the guy's an asshole or something, and I know he's how a lot of people react. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fake and this and that. I don't want to go through the channels of explaining and defending my livelihood for the last 45 years. But and sometimes I do, but a lot of times I avoid it.
Yeah.
If someone is just asking to be an asshole, then I don't bother giving them an answer. But if they ask because they really do want to hear my perspective, then I give it to them. And I'll give it to you if you want, Dom. I don't know if I've done this recently on this show because I've done a few podcast interviews recently. And stop me if I just did this last week. But if you haven't heard me talk on an interview, for me, when other wrestlers point out their injuries, and say, "Oh, you see that fucking?"
You talked about this, yep.
We did. Okay, then I won't bother again.
It's a great perspective though, because I was
always been that way. It's real to me. I'm really doing those moves. There's not fucking wires guiding me down, and we really are competing, not for necessarily to win the match, but really in the backstage, fucking with the politics and everything, considering, most wrestlers do want to win, then yeah, they go through talking to the agents or the writers or whatever. And that is definitely part of the competition. They get you ahead, that gets them ahead, not me.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, I ended up after hearing the question enough, usually the short answer for me, if someone says, is that stuff real or fake? I just say, look, let me pick you up and body slam you one time, and then you tell me.
Then you'll know.
Is that easy?
Yeah.
Is that easy? Bam. What would you think, buddy? Get up.
Right. Let me pie face you with a chair. I broke my arm so bad in a match, and I was either a manager or a referee, where I had to get it rushed to the hospital and put a titanium plate in there and 6 screws. I've got multiple stitches. I'm almost bled to death. My shoulders. I'm a referee and a manager.
Yeah, right. You're not even a wrestler.
I showed you my carpet burn, right?
Yeah, the mat burn. The mat burn happened.
That burns.
Yes,
so I've got a lot of injuries. Crazy. It's crazy, man.
Fonzie, you were telling before Rob joined us, you were telling me that the Sheik stabbed you with the pencil, right?
My first professional match that I refereed was in Lubbock, Texas. I was trying to get into business. I was trying to break into business. One of my best friends, the Cuban assassin, David Sierra, said, "Hey, Rocky Johnson got me booked in Texas. I'm going out there. I want you come out there with me, and I'll tell him you're my little brother and you're a referee."
I seen him recently without you, by the way.
Oh,
I think in Pennsylvania at that Hershey or Harrisburg, whatever it was, something with an H. Cuban assassin.
Oh,
nice. He lives here in Florida. I see him all the time.
Okay.
So I was went out there, but they had all the referees. They had Bronco Lubridge, David Manning, this guy and that guy. So in 6 months, I got to work 4 times, 5 times. So what was the question? I forgot.
I was just telling it how the Sheik stabbed you with a pencil.
So one of the matches that I worked, my first professional match that I worked, is the Sheik, Sabu's uncle, and Terry Funk in a chain match. And the Sheik ended up beating the referee up, which was me, and stabbed, didn't mean to stab me, but he stabbed me in the arm. I still have the lead mark. And Sabu, that's why Sabu and I clicked so good, because I told him that story and he loved it.
A permanent autograph you had.
Yeah.
A permanent autograph.
Cool.
Right? Well, let's get to some.
And got in here, broke in here in May 1980.
And then things full time since then, huh? Full time since then.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, let's get to some super chats here. Fonzie, you can weigh in on these too. Beyond the Script podcast, the $4.99. Thank you. Fantastic job on AEW, Rob. What do you think of the Cody Rhodes situation? So him winning the Rumble and then The Rock coming in there and everything like that is what's happening. And it looks like it's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Is the AEW locker room pissed? RVD, baby. So, Rob, what's your thoughts on that?
Is that how they did it? He won the Royal Rumble and was supposed to get the match. Then The Rock came in and just said, "No, it's going to be me."
So what happened? Yes, Cody won the Rumble, the Royal Rumble. And then everybody's thinking he's going for Roman Reigns' title because that's what he lost at last WrestleMania.
But that wasn't the prize of the Royal Rumble.
But Cody could have his choice of what title he wanted to choose. So he could either challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, or he could challenge Roman Reigns for the WWE title. And so what it looked like was Cody was going for that WWE championship against Roman Reigns. And then on Monday, Seth Rollins came out and be like, "Hey, you should challenge for the big gold, the belt that I have. That's Dusty's belt. That's, Ric Flair's belt. Do you want the Hollywood title that Roman Reigns has that he never defends?" So then on SmackDown this past Friday, Roman Reigns comes out, talks trash about Seth Rollins and that title. And then Cody Rhodes comes out and he's like, "So I want that title." He was like, but I've spoken to a lot of people and I won't challenge for that title at WrestleMania coming up, but this person will. And out came The Rock. And so that's kind of what happened and how it all set up. But a lot of fans are upset because they wanted to see Cody Rhodes challenge for that title. But The Rock at WrestleMania 40.
For sports entertainment, but if they put him in for the title and put the title on him right away, so hopefully The Rock puts him over and then he gets a shot next year or whatever, and then he's going to be the champion for the next 6 to 7 years probably. They need somebody, and Cody's a hell of a hand.
Absolutely.
Big name.
Absolutely.
People like him. He's very marketable.
Mm-hmm. He is very marketable, but big time. Yeah. So, Rob, that's kind of the situation that they have going on.
Yeah, well, thank you for the backstory, because I did see on social media the headlines or little comments. I knew the fans were upset that it was going to be Cody. Instead of Cody, it was going to be The Rock. I saw the headlines on some YouTube videos that I didn't listen to that said The Rock got booed. Fans are upset that it wasn't Cody. And my thoughts on that were, I got asked, did I think it was going to be The Rock or Cody, like, I don't know, a month ago or whatever. And I said The Rock, like it's those guys, the tribal family or whatever. they've been taken over. Obviously, WWE loves them. The WWE Universe loves them. And you know, what a huge part of the story bringing The Rock back and having him challenges to that whole dynasty and bloodline. And how can you not do that if you have the ability to have that match at WrestleMania where you're putting everything you got into that one night to make it the best show of the year? And I look at the fans complaining about it as a good thing. I think, you know, that they're behind Cody so much that's good. That's what you want. He's a great baby face, and that's part of his story. Is the fans are going to think that when he deserved the shot, that he didn't quite get it. They're going to stick with him, and like Fonzie said, moving forward, then Cody's in a great position. And the fans are always, when the fans complain about things like this, it seems to me like they're fans that are saying, I could write a better show than you. You know what I mean? Because when I was a fan, we complained if the heel tripped the baby face and the referee didn't see it.
Yeah, right.
That's what we complained about as fans. Come on, man, he got ripped off again. You didn't even see it. And now
it's so big that we used to call them smart marks. They
right.
Smart, you know what I mean? But I think the majority of the WWE universe is okay with what's going on. And there'll be WrestleMania is going to be huge and big, and it's going to be a fantastic show, no matter which way they go.
And if you're really arguing that that it was a dumb choice, what this $1 billion decision that teams had corporate meetings over, but what would be better, are you saying that you think Cody Rhodes is a bigger star than The Rock?
Me? No.
No, I'm saying the people people that are saying it should have been Cody instead of The Rock. Are you saying Cody Rhodes is a bigger name than The Rock? Because I beg to differ with that.
That's the thing too, is like everybody's thinking from, hey, the story perspective, and like you're compromising Cody, what he's been through and all that stuff by having The Rock face Roman when he should be facing Roman. When I think, Bill, you said it really good, is that like he's going to be a star for years to come. And moving down the line, if The Rock happens to beat Roman Reigns for that title, or even Roman Reigns happens to beat Rock for that title, and Cody beats one of them, then his story continues, and then you have a new star moving forward. I think it doesn't necessarily have to happen at WrestleMania 40 for it to be true to Cody's story. I think, and
The Rock is definitely one of the biggest stars. You can put him there with
Hogan,
The Rock, and RVD.
Right. Yes. There we go. Rob, that's what you got to do, is you got to insert yourself into this equation here.
Hey, man, I'd love to, but I don't think my bank would believe it if I said I was up there with those fellers. But also, I forgot what I was going to say, but it's a business, and it's hard to look at it that way when you're a competitor feeling overlooked, and when you have to fight for your own momentum, which you do, but don't fight too hard or they'll tell you it's a work. And it's like, it really takes a lot to navigate those waters, so anybody that can do it has to have a lot of different skills.
Mm-hmm. Let me put this in there. Sometimes the offense doesn't get it always right. The offense makes mistakes too, but usually they get it right. That's why Dusty was a booker down here. He was fantastic. Selling out. How could you sell out Monday, West Palm Beach, Tampa Tuesday, Miami Wednesday, Jacksonville Thursday, Friday and Saturday a spot show, and Sunday Orlando, week after week and week after week? You had to have good stuff. So the offense is usually pretty damn good. Or
it seems like they're mostly spot on for the most part. People harken back a lot to like when Brian Danielson, like 10 years ago, when he got that, that chance to be at WrestleMania, and people really wanted him instead of Batista or Randy Orton to be in that position. And then, there was that big groundswell for him to be put there. And sure enough, the fans basically got what they wanted at that WrestleMania, where they kind of changed it so he won the titles and he beat Triple H there too, and it ended up working out. So yeah, but typically, like, yeah, it's a lot of this from a business perspective in the grand scheme of it all. Seems like a big deal, and I think people are a little too caught up with like, oh, it's hurting Cody. It's not hurting Cody at all. Like Rob, what you said, Cody is just the fans' passion for it will ultimately bring Cody to bigger stardom and all.
Yeah, and Fonzie, do you agree with this statement I'm about to make? A person's hardships is what builds their character.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Boom.
Yeah.
So keep going, Cody. You know, if I would have kept going when I quit, maybe I would have been in a much bigger position. You know what I mean? Like when I was world champ and I lost all my heart, you know, with what they were doing, and I needed a spiritual escape, and I did that. If I would have stayed, ate shit for a little while, maybe I would have been like right back up on top. Maybe I could have been Edge. I thought we were kind of neck and neck. I didn't see big difference there. And then he ends up getting the biggest payday like in history, biggest contract, right? Everyone's got their own pathways though, you know, so I don't have like regrets. That wasn't for me. I love where I'm at. And now I'm in a great position where, as everybody saw on Wednesday, I can still go. I can still move like I did before, but I'm so much more knowledgeable now, not with just experience in wrestling, but in life. I'm in such a better place, which is important. Where you're at in life has a lot to do with how much you're able to commit. And as a performer, it's really all about commitment when it comes down to your actual performance.
Well, the heart when you left WWF, remember your heart wasn't in there. You were the Rock of ECW. You were the Hulk Hogan of ECW, and you could have been, I'm sure, one of those big superstars like The Rock and Hogan if you would have stayed and your heart was in it, but it wasn't. You needed spiritual energy, and you had to take a break and so on and get. And look, you're doing great, RVD.
Yeah. By the way, I saw Dolph Ziggler was like one of the guys that was getting pushed a while ago, like before he left. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking he did it. He hung in there, man, because they were jobbing him out left and right. And I know he must have felt underappreciated, underused. And so did his fans. His fans always looked at him like, why is this talented dude getting squashed every week and getting punished? And why don't they do something with him? And he didn't seem to back off because he was there, I think, before I was there, and there long after I was there. And then eventually it looked like it paid off, and it looked like he was getting a real good push from whatever I saw. Like he was the top guy when his contract ran out or whatever happened. But definitely was in a better position than he was. Same thing with Kofi. Mm-hmm. You know, stay in there long enough, then maybe your time will come around. That's one way to do it.
Yeah. And this kind of is a good topic then, I think, to talk about too, is CM Punk getting hurt. He tore his tricep during Royal Rumble, and now he's going to be out for, I believe it's at least 4 months, but they're saying even more in combination with that. And he is somebody from WWE perspective that took a break, had to walk away, like for his own mental health to get, back in 2014. After that Royal Rumble, he was done. And then, sure enough, he goes to AEW, has a situation there, get some success, some failures there, if that's how people want to look at it. And then he goes to here. Sure enough, he gets injured again. He's at I think he's like 44, maybe is his age. But like this is like the third injury he's had. And Rob, you've stretched. I was even telling my brother this. I was like, make sure you stretch before you start working out all the time too, because it's important. And Rob does it all the time. So you coming from that perspective and seeing where CM Punk is at, how do you feel about that injury? And like, is there certain things when you get to this age like that you got to be a little bit more conscientious of?
Well, I think when it comes to not getting injured, let's look at the factors. When it comes to what I can do about it, genetics are probably the main thing, I would think, with most people, which you don't have any control over. conditioning is basically the only other thing that I do have control over to try to put the odds in my favor. There's nothing I can do for my body other than condition it, which includes stretching, working out, anything that, you know, if it's ice baths, whatever you want to, you know, anti-inflammatory type of a lifestyle, meaning, you know, search for everything that's, you know, that fights inflammation. That's all conditioning. So I'm going to say genetics, and when I say conditioning, the only other thing is my movements, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, my movements that I do can determine the variance and the probabilities of me getting injured. So if I'm, you know, a high flyer, I'm doing high risk moves, maybe or maybe not, you know, that could be a better chance of getting hurt than if I kept it simple and didn't move very much. It seems like that would make sense anyway. And that's about it. You know, it's like, it's a very physical game, and it sucks for Phil, especially the timing of it, because he was so hot and was the name.
Fire. He was on fire when
he was right. It was really like momentum was picking up big time.
And they love him.
I kind of feel like, you know, like being in the ring, a lot of it, even if you're really tough and you condition yourself, it's still going to be like playing defense in dodgeball. You're zooming around, running back and forth. Sometimes you're going to get hit, though, you know, bam, bam. And sometimes you might get hit every 2 seconds. Bam. You might sit out, just get back in the game, someone hits you with another ball again. Damn it. And it's just because there's so many people running around, there's so many balls running around that, you know, odds are that any one of us could have it happen and happen often concurrently. And then, you know, we're playing an odds game, doing everything we can, hoping that doesn't happen, but it really still could. So I feel like it's more of an odds thing that people aren't giving Phil enough credit for, because I've seen some negative energy on, you know, with the Twitter tards, whatever you want to call them, and them, you know, thinking that he's fragile and coming up with all this stuff, but not necessarily. Mm-hmm. And by the way, most of the injuries that I know of happened with something really simple. I was in the car on my way to the AEW show on Wednesday, and I rode with Adam. I don't think it's Adam Page. He's on a crutch.
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah. Oh, he's the one that does the one arm, right?
Yeah.
Boom. About that. What's up with that?
Yeah. Hey, that's half my trademark there.
But good guy though, and we were talking. Yeah, we were talking, and I asked, he's on a crutch, you know, and got the walking boot, and I asked him what happened, and it was something super simple. I said, same thing, Fonzie. You remember in Orlando, I did a sliding kick to Rhino and rolled my ankle, broke it. After all those dives and flips and everything, and I even did a backflip right after I broke my ankle.
Damn.
I didn't know it was broke. I just knew it hurt, and it would usually I could shake it off. I swear, I thought I was indestructible until that happened. So I didn't know how to react to it. I kept trying to walk it off, kept going. Yeah, I did the backflip. But anyway, I just want to mention that too, that a lot of the injuries from talking to other wrestlers, maybe you can back me up on this, Fonzie, but isn't it usually simple stuff? Just a twist of the ankle in a loose mat or something?
Usually it's the same thing you've done 165 times. How did we wrestle 340 days a year back in, you know, when I started, these guys wrestle, and they avoided a lot of injuries. The injuries start coming when we started getting a little more, when the evolution started changing, the sports entertainment guys are doing way more action in the ring and flipping. It's crazy what they do now. So injury is so much more prone to happen. And it does. But it's usually something that you've done 100 times.
How much can you credit, do you think, the fact that a lot of wrestlers nowadays don't wrestle as much as you guys did too back in the day? It's like you hear about it, like your body kind of calluses, quote unquote, and like you get used to doing this stuff. and then you not doing it as much, it can cause some simple stuff can kind of cause injuries. Do you think that comes into play of just wrestling less?
I personally don't if someone's doing it full time.
Okay.
Because if you're not doing it 5 days a week, but you're doing it 1 day a week, that's plenty. I mean, that's probably a way better balance for your body, in the long run. Like when I first came back to AEW after my match, I was thinking, man, if I came back every week, I'd get like warmed up. This match, I think my last match was in AEW, so that was October.
Yeah, it was like a tag with Hook, right? Was it on Collision you did it with? I think that was your last one.
I think we decided that. So that's November, December, January. So that's 3 months, for me. But obviously, I've been doing it a long time, and I know what to do to keep myself in condition and everything. But if it was like once a year, then definitely I'd want to get in a ring and roll, hit the ropes, bump around a little bit. If it was like once a year, if it was once every 6 months, on the fence. Might want to get in the ring, or maybe I'll just get in the ring before the show, make sure I can jump up to the top rope or whatever, But overall, though, I don't think you need to go every single day in order to get conditioned for the ring. I think it gets you conditioned real fast, but for longevity, it might take a few more weeks to get there. But if you did it once or twice a week, I think that would probably be ideal. In about 3 weeks, or depending on who you are, but your body in 2 or 3 weeks, you would feel like you were going every day anyway.
Okay, that's good to know.
Just the traveling alone, when back in when I was working for Vince, you worked 7 to 10 days, home 3. The traveling and getting in the ring every night, it was absolutely insane. I look back at that and say, how do we do that? How do we do it?
That's a good point, Fonzie. Like, I gotta say, the travel has always hurt me more than the matches. And I'll wrestle afterwards. I'm like, wow, I feel good, and the next day, I'll be like, man, I feel good. I really liked my match last time. My body feels pretty good, And then after getting in that seat and then having to sleep sitting up with either my head back or this way or whatever, and maybe even somebody leaning on me because you're that close to each other, and maybe leaning or all up against, the window or whatever it is. By the time I get home, I always feel so bad. And some of it could be everything catching up to me, but it's the travel that kills me every time. And if I could stay in town and not go home afterwards, I think I'd feel great.
I bet. 100%.
If I could wrestle in town every night, in hometown, not every night, but you get it, every time, that would be ideal.
Right. Just have Tony Khan bring AEW to Vegas and set up a residence there.
Believe it or not, this has been talked about several times, like in a dinner show kind of atmosphere, which could work here in Vegas, maybe Absolutely. Nowhere else. But yeah.
Why the Rat Packs there? You had Wayne Newton. You met Wayne Newton there. It's like, why not have some wrestling?
Yeah. I forgot about that. That was, I think that was my idea. Now that I think about it.
Now that I think about it,
that can actually work. That's a great idea,
right? Well, I don't see what's the harm in that, right?
Well, we had WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace, so let's have a show every 5 days a week at Caesar's Palace.
Right, and you get that. You don't get the usual crowd. You always get the new people showing up there. So
right.
Yeah, I think what happened, I was having meetings with some people about it, and then my guy Tom Garland moved, and I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, maybe I should pick that up again. A good idea is a good idea. I'm always a sucker for a good idea.
Right, it could be like a small indie show. It had to be a huge production. You know what I mean? Somebody with like Vince or Tony Khan would have to do it, or
do you remember though? But do you remember Fonzie Daddy? Do you remember the movie Showgirls?
Yes.
Remember how there was cheetahs where everyone's there, woo, and there's a stage, but then there's also that little tiny job where she's where she met the black guy, and she's there for an audition or something to dance, and it's a small little room and it's alone. Vegas has a wide range, just like big wrestling shows and small little indie shows. So even when it comes to stage shows or magician shows, you can find some pretty small, crappy ones that don't have a budget that are hoping to get discovered and work their way up. Midgets, dancing, not midgets, magicians is what I was thinking. Magicians when I said midgets, but
magician midgets.
Why not?
Yeah,
that was another idea I always had, was midget mixed martial arts, MMA.
Oh my god!
No,
I tell you what, that's not a bad idea.
I know.
That's not a bad idea at all, Rob. So we do that.
It's my follow-through game. I think it's weak.
There you go. Okay, so we have some super chats. One's just a shout out, Rob.
Hey, by the way, read the ones. Remember, you wrote them down because we closed.
Yep, I screenshotted the one. So I'll pop that one up next. Okay. Legend One Man, thank you for the $5. He says, been down with the whole effing show since '97. So he's getting his fill here with Fonzie and RVD here tonight.
Yeah, so, Daddy.
How about that?
Did we get together in '96 or '97 when we were management?
I think it was the first pay-per-view.
Okay. Barely Legal.
That was '97 then, right?
Yeah, Barely Legal '97 then.
That's when you became my manager, when I turned into Mr. Monday Night?
I went with Sabu, and then
that night you went with Sabu?
Yeah, I went with Sabu,
okay.
And then two right after.
Got you.
Almost simultaneously, but
yeah, we're symbiotic. If you're down with one of us, you got to be down with the other.
Right.
I love that. I wonder if I'm gonna be picking him up from the airport. I guess I still got a long time, but yeah, I love that though. Having someone like that and having that relationship, as a shoot. He my brother.
The lasting bond you guys have is pretty.
Hey, don't scissor us, bro. Don't scissor us.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
RVD, do you remember doing this show? 50 years of funk. Last match in Amarillo, Texas, and you and Sabu were on the card. And I was managing Sabu. Can you see that?
Yeah, what a picture. That's funny. And I got black. Is that black? Okay. I don't know if that's electric tape on my wrist or athletic tape.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
Oh, it's black tape for sure. But
and I was probably barefoot. But no, I remember it. I look barefoot, but I do remember the show. I wrestled Dory Funk Jr. and did not take it easy on him at all. Did my helo over the top rope where my heavy ass, crushes everybody's shoulder, and kicked him in the face, Van Daminated him, all kinds of stuff. And what's weird,
was he there for you when you were doing your moves?
Well, I mean, as I remember, right? Yeah, I think when I did the helo out to the floor, I think it just kind of brushed him, if I remember right. But I remember telling him, and I would tell people like they were scared about it, man. You know what? I'm not going to get hurt. Don't worry. You know what I mean? And I think I did that. But what's funny is looking back at it, it's funny I didn't take it easy on him. Why? Because he was like an old man. What's funny about that? That night, Dory was my age now.
That's so crazy too.
Wow.
I wouldn't think twice about catching someone doing a helo over the top rope and, crashing and kick in the face. You know what I mean? Like, he was a way older 53-year-old than RVD at 53. So that's crazy.
Different era. I used to do so many 60-minute Broadways with him. That was a common thing. And when I started, they would do 60-minute Broadway. It was crazy.
The other night, I think we went like 5, then like a 3-minute commercial break. No, we did. And then 8 or 8, and then 3 and 5. How much is that? 16, dude. Anyway, yeah, I totally could have gone another 15 minutes, no problem. Like I felt so good, and for a lot of reasons, but a lot of it was being in there with him. I like the timing. I like to do things explosively, and then and then react to it, let everybody react to it, every like 1 out of every 50 comments will say, oh, he definitely slowed down, but he did pretty good for his age or something like that. And everyone's got their right to their opinion, whatever. But my perspective, though, is anybody that's gone through WWE does slow down. You get taught to slow down, so you make everything mean more. And a lot of the young guys now don't have that old school attachment anymore. So what happens? They don't sell anything. They take a finish, stand right up, take another finish, stand right up. And back in ECW, when I watch it, which sometimes I'll come across it, that's the one thing that stands out in my mind. Like, yeah, impressive. I had impressive moves and stuff, but sometimes I didn't sell shit. And I just got like so committed to it that by the end of the match, I'm feeling everything that happened along the way. Every bump still, I'm carrying it with me. You know what I mean? If you DDT me at the beginning and we go 20 minutes, I'm still walking around like that because I'm into it so much. You know what I mean? I feel it, and it fucking and I react to it. And so that's something everybody, when they get around, it's a green thing. When you start out, everybody that's trying to teach you says, "Whoa, slow down," right, Fonzie?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the 5-star frog splash, fantastic. Big 5-star, and then you'd sell your own frog splash before you cover the guy. It was great.
I got trained by the best, Sabu.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Rob, that match itself too, you mentioned it. It's like it was really well paced out because, like, there was those moments where like it would kind of slow down, but it was just so it could breathe a little bit and fans could kind of take it in. But then there like those moments where you would just, okay, here comes that spot where you do the leaping leg off onto the fucking barricade there. And then, all that other stuff, those impactful stuff with the chairs coming into play. And
there's an art to getting a peak pop where, and I don't mean the biggest peak out of all of them, but every time it peaks, you have to go from somewhere in order to get somewhere. And if you stay there and you're already there, then it's not as easy to get as good of a reaction. And this is kind of stuff that now I feel like Piper, because I never really like to give away this much stuff when I'm, talking openly. But I mean, let's just say to get the best reaction, I always believe a misdirection and then boom, hitting them where they didn't know it was coming. That's the idea of make them think you are going to get kicked out, get pinned. But then at 2 9/10, you just get that shoulder up. Sometimes they'll react like, oh, I thought that I got him. I use that art everywhere. Like before I hit the ropes, that's why I hit the ropes. That's why sometimes I'll just be like, boom, and I just take off explosively. That's why I do a lot of things. That's why if I'm in the corner and someone's running at me, I'll at least hold my fist up like I'm going to punch him before they hit me, or maybe I'm trying to get out of there. But everyone else, it'll just stand there, and just wait. That's not the art that I am trying to bring across. And so yeah, you got to have those. You got to bring them down if you want them to go up. If you're already up, and unless you go up higher, which is another way to do it, more challenging, and hopefully that's in your plan anyway.
To what you were saying too, the finish of the match I thought was really cool because Swerve's taunting you on the turnbuckle, and then instead of you just laying there and waiting for him to do it, you're just giving them the double birds, like fuck you, man, like that's it, and then boom. So it was a very cool finish too, and
yeah, I understand that people that recorded it did not get to see the finish. I don't know where it cut off.
I saw it. I don't know. Oh, but okay. I did. Yeah, and I watched. I think
not online, but on TV.
Yeah, well, so I have Sling, so I watch it live, but I watch it through the app there. So I don't know if I caught the overrun, but I was watching it in time. So
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's take some super chats here. We'll do the screenshot one I did from last week real quick before I forget about it. Boom. Mr. Whisper, $5 last week. Thank you. He said, Rob, Maven recently made a list of the most painful finishers to take, and it got me thinking if there was any you dislike taking in your career. Fonz, we know the choke slam is yours by Giant Gonzalez. But Rob, how about you?
Well, you know, we talked about this somewhat recently, but obviously, whoever I was going to say their name, but I don't see their message. So yeah, I mean, actually, a choke slam is not fun to take. I would put that up there actually among the top. I think for me, it's going to be the Alabama Slam. That boom, yeah, that it's like that wheelbarrow drop you on your neck move that Del Wilkes used to give it to me in All Japan all the time. The Patriot. Mm-hmm. I think maybe Bobby Roode might have done that. I'm not sure. In TNA,
he did a big spine buster. I remember.
He did that for sure. The spine buster for sure. I remember him doing that to me on a ladder.
Yeah.
One time. But yeah, and Bob Holly. And the thing is, you're up there, and then wham, like as much momentum as they can. Bobby Eaton, I think, used to do it, but I don't think he did it as stiff. But that's probably why it's an Alabama Jammer. Bobby Eaton.
Yeah, right? Yeah, he did that leg drop too off the top too, the Alabama Jammer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, if you can't imagine, the reason that it's one of my least favorite to take is because it's so punishing and there's so little I can do about it except for just eat it. I'm hoping that I don't slam the back of my head and that my neck doesn't hit so hard that some damage will be there. But there really isn't, depending on how hard they want to slam you, you just got to eat it, and you got your shoulders, that you try to distribute the weight as much as you can, but no matter what, bam, it's a motherfucker. And it used to knock the wind out of me every single time, but I would never let them know because that's just the way that I am. I wouldn't let them know that they hurt me. I would never complain, back when I was green wrestling with Del Wilkes, or when I was fighting for ECW Pride with Bob Holly,
Yeah.
I would even after a while with Bob, you had to do it, fuck it, do it to me on a chair.
Right.
But it was still so physical and knocked the wind out of me. And so a choke slam for very much the same reasons.
Yeah. Fonzie, is there a move that you hear a lot of wrestlers being like, oh, man, that's the fucking toughest move to take? Or is there anything that really stands out to you?
A lot of the ECW stuff with the hot potato, the chairs, been there, hold the chair.
You're going to say the Van Dam-inator.
With the chair, and you do the, man, those things were crazy to see and take. I'd get put through. I thought getting put through a table was going to be pretty tough, but Sabu says, all you're going to do, Fonzie, Sabu put me through a couple of tables when I was with Taz.
Mm-hmm.
So Sabu said, Fonzie, you're just going to fall from here to the 3 foot. I'm going to fucking take the bump through the table. You know what I mean? Don't worry, you're fine. And I never took a bad table.
How about that?
Yeah. For me to take, not to do.
Right.
I put a guy through a table and caved for some stupid reason. I volunteered. And I broke 3 ribs. I did it the wrong way. I didn't know how to.
Oh, no, remember you put Ben through a table in Wisconsin a couple of years ago in 21 in my match. You remember that? In Wisconsin, it was that fundraiser show for the Army dude. Ben. Yeah. What's Ben's name? Ben Dover. I can't remember his last name right now.
Is he a wrestler? Or is he?
Yes, he wrestles and he promotes this show in Wisconsin. Super nice dude, and I'm just blanking on his last name right now.
Maybe somebody in the chat will know.
Me too.
Yeah.
But usually the guys try to take care of you the best they can, but some of them you just can't. They do hurt. A lot of guys get busted up. Marty, speaking of getting hurt, Marty Jannetty, I think he's doing a fundraiser thing. His ankle, and they may have to amputate. I just heard. I've been reading about it a little bit. They may have to amputate his leg.
Oh, is that a new update? Because we had him on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a new update. Like in the last 4 or 5 days, I just read it. Or
that's a shame.
At a Legends lunch. So many guys live in Florida, in Tampa Bay area, that we have a Legends lunch every couple of months, and they were talking about it. It was just last Thursday.
Wow. And then I heard too, I think I saw on his Facebook, or no, I saw on his sister passed away. Is that true too? Did you guys get that?
I read the thing.
Wow. All thoughts and prayers go out to Marty for sure.
I got 3 things to say. Yeah. 1, my friend in Wisconsin is Ben McCoy.
Okay.
Oh.
I forgot that. Yeah. 2, one finish that I would fight before I would take is the Rikishi Stinkface. And 3, I talked to Marty just before we did this show.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't mention the fundraiser. I mean, we weren't talking about that, but yeah, the doctors want to take his
damn it,
his foot or leg. He's got sepsis, and sepsis is really bad, and it spreads. It'll get up to your heart. It'll kill you. It goes through your organs quick. And so he's got that, and then his sister died. Yeah, and so not it's a bad, sad week for him. But
I didn't mean to say Marty was doing a fundraiser. Somebody was talking about starting it for them.
Oh,
I figured that would come around, and I'll definitely support it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, why aren't you at the hospital on an antibiotic drip right now? Like, that's what I don't understand. And he kept saying, well, they say it's past that. I know, I get that. I'm not saying instead of, but I'm saying to slow it down from spreading further. I mean, can't you do both? Like, I don't get it. Is it what? I don't know. I still didn't understand exactly, but yeah, he's considering. It was good to talk to him, connect with him, and I'm glad I called him.
Yeah. Good to touch base. Yeah. The best of wishes to Marty for sure. Hopefully everything kind of turns out. It's
hell of a worker too.
We'll keep you updated. If there's any fundraiser or something that we can help push, we'll be doing it.
Absolutely. All right, let's do some couple super chats here. Seth, the writer of the RVD new intro song going down. So he says, right down the middle, baby. Fonzie, are you down for one more run of some of that sweet TK money, meaning Tony Khan? Swerve match was awesome. Let's manifest Darby Allin next. Because, you and Seth connected about manifesting with the Swerve. So,
right. Yeah. True.
So, Fonzie, you would be up for some little AEW appearance or several of them.
I would come in and Pie Face Hook, who's very marketable. I like Hook. He's very marketable and a hell of a hand in the ring. And I would love to pie face him and have my guy beat him 1, 2, 3. Give me anybody to pie face him and let's beat. Yes, I would love a run.
How about that?
I picture a match with Darby Allin being a lot like we used to have with Spike Dudley, Fonzie.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember those matches we'd have? Oh, so much fun, but man, we would just beat the shit out of Spike.
My God, he was smaller than me.
How tall was he?
5'8".
I don't know.
Okay, wow.
5'6".
Tough kid. And he never would complain either. But man, I would be throwing chairs at him, hitting him in the head over and over and over throughout the match, and just piling him on top of him and splashing the whole pile, and the guardrails. Like, those were some pretty hardcore matches. I really had a lot of fun, and I think he did too with them.
I believe.
Yeah, I think that spirit would probably try to manifest or come out in a in a match with Darby Allin. All right, Sabu gets in at 11:40.
11:40. Oh, the wheelman RVD.
I get you.
The Wheelman RVD coming on in.
He was doing a show in Michigan.
He was, and then he stayed extra and did some extra work. I don't know. He went to some conventions that I don't think he was booked at originally or something, and made it an extra few days out of it. And now he's coming back to LV.
I'm with him on the 17th of this month, and in a couple of weeks in Rhode Island at a big convention. And then I'm with them in Hartford, Connecticut, right outside of Hartford at another convention. And of course, we're all together in April.
Are you not going to be in Queens this weekend, Fonzie?
No.
That's weird because it's like ECW day.
Really?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Have you ever signed at that? It's like an action figure store called. I mistakenly called. Yeah, Wrestle Universe.
Yeah, yeah. I went there and did an appearance.
Yeah, so me too a couple times, but on the 10th, it's ECW day, so like I'm there all day, and the other ECW wrestlers are going to be coming in and out in rotation.
Is it at the store?
Yes, sir.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't hear they didn't invite me.
That ain't right, man.
I got so much other stuff going on. I'm working every weekend until I'm almost working every weekend until April.
That's great.
And I'm already booked in June. I'm already booked in June. 2 days in June.
No shit. Damn. Yeah.
Crazy.
Well,
if you ever get busier than you want to be, just raise your price.
That's it.
Van Dam and I did. You remember you told me.
High five.
You told me you didn't want to leave your house for a certain amount. You said it's not worth it.
That's not my standards.
I was afraid to ask for more money, and I did, and they have no problem.
Oh, imagine. Yeah. And that's probably why it's probably why I'm at this store all day Saturday and everyone's coming in and out, but worth it.
Absolutely. I like Queens. I've only been there a couple times, but I like it.
Katie's coming with me too.
Oh, is she? Rob, I was going to ask too. Did she go to New Orleans with you because she's from there? Or couldn't she make it? That's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. Cool. Super chats. Unsweet Tease. Thanks for the $5. He says, you always inspired me, Rob. Thanks for being a confident, free thinker. Curious what you like to drink after not being a drinker for a long time. You were drinking champagne a couple months ago. Is it still your choice?
I'm still on the champagne kick.
Yep.
That's been my go-to for a while now. I just remember last WrestleMania in LA, I was drinking mimosas and they were somewhat new to me. And then I just wanted to cut the orange juice out because I didn't want the sugar. Sure. So I would can I get a mimosa without the orange juice? And then I switched to champagne. So I guess a little less than a year. That's been my go-to. Like when I'm going to have a drink, I will order a champagne. And in case you didn't know, this fact, which I believe to be a true fact, Fonzie, see if you know this. Do you know that champagne only comes from France? If it doesn't come from France, it's not real champagne.
I didn't know that.
And usually, depending on where I'm at, when I order champagne, they say, "Is Prosecco okay?" And I didn't know what that was at first, but Prosecco is like champagne they made here, also called sparkling wine. And that's champagne made here. Otherwise, it's going to be made in France. I was also told tequila's the same way. Don't know if that one's true or not. But it has to be in Mexico or else it's not tequila. But I don't know if that's true. They were two different sources. But the champagne thing has been confirmed. So
we got that
right here. And that's my go-to, dude. That's what
You know what my drinking choice is?
What?
I'm not drinking it at all.
Great.
Good job, Daddy. Good job. I don't dehydrate.
Right.
When did you stop, Fonzie?
At the beginning of the year.
Good. That's great. Heck yeah.
But I'm never. I might have a drink again, but I'm just not drinking. I just got bored
right now. Right.
Oh wait. It's only been 3 days this year so far.
December.
Okay, good job, Daddy. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I feel like the older I get, the more I appreciate drinking and understand why people drink. Because normally, I'd be the one to walk by the bar and be like, why are all those people in there? And back then it was also about like they spend so much more money on a dinner bill than I do when I'm not drinking, but priorities changed, and now like I enjoy it. Don't care that it costs more, and also I can only pretend I'm an alcoholic though, because after a few days of drinking a lot, I can't wait to take a break from it.
Oh God, yeah.
Like my Patalolo.
Paglolo, I could keep going on, although I will say, like, certain weed, like the weed that I have this week, I'm sick of it. It's dried out, and when it's dried out, it's a harsher kind of smoke. It doesn't taste as good. It feels dirtier. It's harder to roll. A lot of people don't realize it's a particular weed. People think like, I don't like weed because when I tried it, this or that. It might have just been that kind. I even have certain kinds that I'm not as fond of, and other kinds that I love. So it's just like alcohol, a wide range of different families in the marijuana plant. But my shit's dried out, and it's not a pleasure to work with.
I like nice, fresh Pacololo.
Yeah.
There's so much good Pacololo now around the planet. I mean, especially it's legal in half the country. It's real easy to get the high quality, fresh stuff.
Some good stuff on there. Hey, there's an alternative too, and it's one of our sponsors actually this week, is Get Blitzed. It's by Mickey Ray Sinatra and his wife Courtney. They are the big proponents of it. Based out of Maryland, I believe. You can they're THC Delta 8, I believe. I think they're Delta 8. But you can get and they're great. They mix with drinks. You only need a small dosage of it. There's several different flavors, but you go to get-blitz.com and then use the promo code RVD and you get 15% off. 15% off your order, and it's a great product. We got it sent to us, Rob, but I think it was so high in demand that somebody stole it from me because I never got my package, even though it was delivered. So
I'll take it over tonight.
Damn, yeah. Check your cat.
Yep, check my cat. That's a good point, Rob. He probably did take it.
And for anybody, if you're not familiar with Delta 8, it's Delta 9 is tetrahydrocannabinol. It's THC, and a lot of products are now made from Delta 8, which is like one ingredient off. If you're into weightlifting, it's a lot like like androstenedione was to testosterone, and kind of like peptides are to a protein. It's just like it's a lot of the building blocks, but not all of them, to make this complete thing. Once in your body, then it will react with your body like the complete thing. With this, it acts like weed, but if you get tested, it won't show up because they don't test for Delta 8, they test for Delta 9.
There you go.
Did not know that.
So yeah, check it out. Get-blitz.com.
I can't wait to
off. Yeah, 15% off. Promo code RVD. It's that simple. So thank you, Mickey Ray and Courtney, for sponsoring the show.
Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a couple more super chats here, and we'll close it on out. It's been so much fun with you guys talking shit here. So beyond the script, Rob, you mentioned this earlier when you were talking about Bobby Roode. Thanks again for the $1.99. I remember Sting no selling the Rolling Thunder in TNA. Rob, do you remember that happening at some point? Sting no selling the Rolling Thunder?
No, I don't, but I do have a comment on that. I don't remember him not selling the Rolling Thunder, but that wonderful debut match that I had in TNA in 2010, the idea was I'm just coming in and beating Sting really quick by surprise while he's distracted by Hulk Hogan. And I was going to run down as a surprise, climb to the top rope, jump off, and do a kick, and just cover him. And he wanted that.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. How about, I'll just hit you with the Rolling Thunder and cover you. He's like, no, that'll take too long. I want it to be quick. Just kick, pin. And I was like, okay, but I can do it. I can hit the ropes and roll and do it quicker than most people will even drop down to their knees and pin you. So it's not like a time thing. Like it's my cover. It's just the way I'm covering you. Like I could, instead of like just hooking your leg, I could do a backflip on you or whatever. And at the time, I didn't understand why he didn't want to do it. Now telling you, I get it. He had a different vision of it being boom, 1, 2, 3. But anyway, I finally talked him into the move. He wasn't for it, but boom, I kicked him, hit the ropes, Rolling Thunder, 1, 2, 3. And that's what everybody saw. And I did sell it for the 3 count. I didn't want to. I was like, dude, I've never beat anybody with just a kick. So I don't want to make you look bad because that's a move that I do a lot. I don't think I've ever pinned anybody with it. Maybe if Fonzie held a chair over their face. I still don't know. But either way, that's the story. So 1, 2, 3. And then afterwards, he hit me with a baseball bat to get his heat back up. And Hulk Hogan was supposed to be like right there. And to distract him, I fuck off. They do whatever. Boom, go to commercial. But Hulk never came back. And so I kept getting back up and taking another belt shot and another shot. And he specifically said beforehand, I don't want to like beat the shit out of you with the bat. I said, no, we don't need that. He said, I think like one hit, I said, cool. He gave me that one hit, but after a while, I was like, I can't stay down after one hit, which really, looking back at it, I could have just rolled to the floor.
Uh-huh.
And then all the pressure would have been on Hulk coming out. But he came, it took so long to come out, they wouldn't notice then. And I kept getting up and feeding. And then eventually Hulk came down. And I think I saved Hulk by doing that, even though it made me and my debut look kind of shoddy. I took one for the Hulkster.
There you go.
If I would have rolled to the floor and it would have left us all just staring up at the ramp for 2 minutes, then that might have not looked as good on Hulk. So even though he doesn't know it, I got your back, brother.
Hey, dude. Got your back, dude. Nice. Mickey Ray Sinatra clarifies for us, it's Delta 9, the same you get from marijuana. Delta 8 is banned in many states right now. So thanks for clarifying there, Mickey Ray. So it is Delta 9. You get blitzed.
The get blitz is actual marijuana then is what they're saying, because Delta 9 is THC. And they're not saying THC1 or THCA. They're saying that it's THC and that it's Delta 9.
Yeah, so he says, Get Blitz Lit Aid Nano Infused THC Syrup is a premium cannabis-infused syrup formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. So there we go.
I stand corrected that. I thought we had the fake shit. So this would show up then in your drug test, but, probably better for you than the Delta 8.
There you go. Fonzie, before we kind of close some stuff out, I did want to ask in regards to just, obviously you manage such legends like RVD and Sabu and everything like that. Who did you kind of look up to growing up as a kid, being a fan of the business and everything like that? Who were some of your favorites?
Eddie Graham. When I first started going to wrestling, my dad came home. He was a friend of the sports editor for the Tampa newspaper, and the Florida office used to put an ad who's going to wrestle on Tuesday nights, and they used to comp the guy who worked for the newspapers tickets. My dad came home with 2 comp tickets. Said, "Hey, Billy, I got tickets for wrestling." I said, "Wrestling? What's that?" I didn't know anything about wrestling, and I'm in the hotbed of the United States, Florida, So curiosity got me, and I went that Tuesday night and fell in love with. There's Eddie Graham, Bobby Shane, Bobo Brazil, Dusty, Dick Murdoch. I can name Bob Roop. There's just so many. Damn.
Manny Fernandez,
Coco Samoa, Mike Davis, Scott McGee, There's Dusty.
All right. Look at those photos. Man, you got a hell of a collection, Fonzie.
Eddie Mansfield.
My whole life's documented, man.
Eddie Mansfield.
Eddie Mansfield, yeah. Yeah.
Continental Lover.
Continental Lover. Damn, I wish I could pull up a card and here's a picture. Look at this picture. It's me and another referee, Jimmy Jett, and that's a young Paul Heyman.
Thought so.
Holy shit.
Down in Florida in the early 80s with a guy named Tombstone that was from like Baltimore. And Tombstone came down and wrestled for about 6 months, and Paulie was hanging out with Tombstone for the 6 months. And so Tombstone was leaving, and I was an assistant booker at that time with Bob Roop.
Wow.
And he said, hey, Fonzie, you think I can go to the ring and be his manager? He's only here another 2 weeks. And he was working with Scott Hall, putting Scott Hall over on his way out. And Paul Heyman had a pair of jeans and a pair of Converse. And I said, brother, you can't go to the ring like that. I said, do you have money to get a suit and look like a manager? He said, yeah. So he and I said, you don't mind taking the Scott Hall's finish? And he took it every night for 2 weeks. And I guess he never forgot it.
I guess not.
I was instrumental in getting him in the business, but I was instrumental in being with him in the business in the very early 80s.
And telling him to wear a dang suit. What was Scott Hall's finish back then? Do you remember?
I think it was a choke slam.
Was it choke slam? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Choke slam.
Damn. All right. We did have a couple Fonzie questions actually here too. Mickey Ray Sinatra. Fonzie, when I was a teen, I wanted to rip that whistle from your neck. Did anyone ever try to actually do it? And how bad did he get his ass whipped if so?
Nobody actually. I look back at some of the matches that I did blow that whistle consistently, and I thought I blew too much. Now I blow it on my entrance.
Oh no, he froze again. The anticipation.
His entrance, and when people ask me to, and at conventions.
Oh no, he's reloading. You're back.
I'm back, Daddy. So I did blow it a lot. I annoyed a lot of people. When I look back at it now, I said, damn, I blew the match during the whole Van Dam match. Probably 60 or 70% of the match, too much. But now I get it on my entrance, a little bit during the match, and on the finish. But no, nobody ever tried to get it from me, luckily. And if they did, they would have got stretched.
There would have been some issues going on there.
Sometimes he would blow it in my ear, and I wouldn't expect it, and it would piss me off. I'm like laying on the apron selling, and all of a sudden he's way in my ear. I'd be like, fuck, God damn it.
We got to sell the ear pain. Yes, we need at least one this show. We need at least one. Legend One Man follows up, Rob. He says, always grateful and appreciate you and Fonzie for all the memories. Legends. You guys are legends. So there we go.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. Here's another question. We'll close it out probably with this one, unless you guys have anything else you want to cover. Ask Fonzie, why isn't he smoking some 420 like RVD? You got some in Tampa, Daddy. You were talking about it.
Yeah, I got a big thing, and I'm going to roll one up right after. I usually don't smoke in my home. I just bought I have a brand new home, my wife and I usually don't smoke inside. I smoke on the lanai outside, so I got a big fat one getting ready to be rolled up. Believe me, I'm going to light one up.
He's going to get it done for you, so don't worry about that.
By the way, until recently, and I think maybe, what was it that made me, well, it was, I guess, a couple years ago, like around COVID. I guess when I started the CBD company, maybe that was around the time. But before that, I never would smoke on film because, well, one, I didn't like the way that I looked smoking anyway. I thought it looked dirty and really, on a personal ego level. But on a bigger level, it was just because I didn't want it to be used against me. I always thought that, conservative people would say, you have kids that are fans of you and you're smoking marijuana, which, I would rather, if a kid's going to take after me as an adult when he's older, I'd rather have him pick up, marijuana than a cigarette.
Right.
But you can't explain that, without really explaining it. But anyway, I used to never. So when I would even like when I was on that first, who's the fat guy with the beard? He cooks Ancient Aliens, rapper.
A rapper?
Come on, man. I was on his show, me and Sabu, a couple times. Ancient Aliens. Bronson?
Action Bronson.
Action Bronson, yes.
There you go. He does look clean. He does.
So when I was on there, like I wouldn't smoke on there. They're all smoking, and I would only do it when the camera was off and stuff, because that was just my personal policy. And then there was a point where I was like, okay, the world's ready for it. You know what I mean? It's not
legal in 3/4 of the country. You can walk in a store and buy it without a medical license. Here it's still medical marijuana, but half the country, are more.
I know you're just throwing out statistics to make a point, which you're right. But check this out, Fonzie. We only have 8 states left that don't have some kind of a marijuana program.
Yeah.
Out of 50. So like, what the fuck? And it's like the Carolinas, a lot down there in the Bible Belt. Pretty sure Texas is still there. And anyway, it's gonna change quick. What, Daddy?
They're changing, missing a lot of revenue. Those 8 states that don't have it in some form, but they will. It eventually be legal in the whole country.
Right. So that makes me wonder this, because I know from decades of studying what history that marijuana is prohibited because it would compete with so many big conglomerate businesses, and those businesses are owned by the true world leaders. So when it comes down to the last states that are taking their time, I wonder if said world leaders have an interest or investment in those particular states, or is that just more of a delaying plan for the overall nation, to delay it as much, and those are just the last pins to fall,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wonder.
Yeah, it's very intriguing. Jeez. We'll have to wait and see.
Jeez.
Well, Fonzie, is there anything else you want to mention in that stuff before we close out? This has been great having you on. We got to get you back on here too.
Oh, I'd love to come back on. Can I put a couple people over?
Absolutely, 100%.
That I work for. Of course, I mentioned that show on the 17th in Warwick, Rhode Island. I'm with Sabu making an appearance at a convention. Dennis Rodman. It's not only going to be just a wrestling convention. It's going to be some different celebrities and Ron Simmons and a few of the boys. I want to mention this company I work for, CCW in Florida. I work for them once or twice a month. It's a great company. I want to mention AIW out of Cleveland that I work for once a month. They fly me up and pay me well. I want to have a great time with a company. They're doing really well. They're on 1,000 people. That's pretty good for a little indie company. And they're like a young ECW, these two companies I just mentioned. And I can't wait to get to the big WrestleCon in Philadelphia, where it all started for me in a way in April, when I hang out with RVD and Sabu and all the boys. Sandman, can't wait to see Todd Gordon, one of my best friends. Want to say hello to my boy in Boston, John, who's been watching. He watches your show all the time.
Nice.
You don't mean John from back in the 90s, do you?
I'm not sure.
You had when we did the ECW shows at the Greyhound track. You had a guy we called John from Boston. I believe he would bring the weed.
Yeah, that's him.
He was like a gangster. He had a tattoo on his neck or something.
Yeah.
You have a tattoo on his neck?
He's a little gangster.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Tell him I said hello.
I will.
Yeah.
See him and hang out. He's got some real good 420. Send me a picture. I can't wait to get here, Fonzie. He's going to hook us all up. We're going to have a great time. Take you out for fried clams and stuff. So
I saw him like 25 years ago, probably last.
Right. I haven't seen him for quite a while.
Hey, is my friend Pablo still with CCW or no?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Fonzie, is that the CCW? Is that the one that Gangrel also runs too, or am I thinking of something different?
Cool. And yeah, the Brazilian giant Nelio, he's the owner of the company. Him and Dan, great guys, and for some reason they love me. And I'm in Kissimmee.
Imagine that.
Hey, I'm in Pompano this Saturday, coming up with this company. They're doing really well, and they run every first Saturday in Hialeah, which is Miami, basically. And they're drawing 1,000 people. It's great. A hell of a show. A great crew. And so shout out to those guys.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Sweet. We actually got another quick super chat in here. Unsweet Teej, thanks again for the $5. This for both of you. Curious if you remember a Rhino promo, Heatwave 99 or 2000, I think, said he'd shove Fonzie's whistle up his ass and violate RVD's face with fists. Do you remember this at all?
I don't particularly. Do you remember that, Fonzie?
Not at all. But we did so much cool stuff, man.
Yeah. I remember laughing at a couple of things that Rhino said, but I don't particularly remember those words. That's pretty funny.
I see him at these conventions all the time. I see a lot of the boys at conventions. I see Sandman frequently.
Yeah, they're cool to do.
They are.
The Dudley boys all the time.
Oh yeah, they always keep busy, especially Bully Ray. Bully Ray does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Now, and Rhino's a fun dude too. I would love to be able to interview him or interact with him at some point. We'll see.
I think Shane Douglas and Francina was just with them last month.
Nice. Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Fonzie, before we go to real quick, is there anybody that you think you would mesh up very well managing wise today in today's modern pro wrestling? Like any younger guys that you'd be like, I'd love to manage that guy.
I would love to come into AEW and give me a guy that can work his ass off that's not a big superstar and let us pie face hook and beat him. Any of them, anyone that can work really well, put me with them, and I guarantee you will be entertainment.
Good, keeping that ECW legacy cooking. Rob, you did it last week. Yeah, Rob did it last week, and it was amazing.
That's what I'm known for. I would love to come in and blow my whistle, and I'm only picking Hook up because of my relationship with Taz, and I like Hook a lot. I think he's a hell of a hand, and he's so marketable, just like Dusty's kid.
Yeah, Cody, absolutely.
Yeah, marketable guys, man. That's what the business is now.
Have you met him? Have you met Hook?
No, I haven't met him.
Mm.
Cool kid, very likable.
Yeah,
Choke and Smoke, the ultimate tag team there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. Well, guys, if you want to follow Fonzie on social media, I know Twitter, it's Alfonso Bill. And you can follow RVD at The Real RVD. You can follow me at Dominic DeAngelo. But hey, follow this podcast. You can tune into Rob's YouTube channel here if you're tuning in live, or go to rvdtv.com. It's the new channel that we got cooking. Full episodes get posted up there every Monday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Plus, you can tune into the audio version of this on wherever you get your podcasts. So do that. Give us a 5-star rating for that 5-star Frog Splash, and let us know what you think. And we'll be happy to read those on air too coming up.
And I'm very easy to get a hold of on social media. Bill Alfonso on Facebook, Instagram, and all that, and Alfonso Bill on Twitter.
Awesome.
And I get back with everybody who social media is me. I get back with them in a certain way, especially if they want me to come do an appearance.
Hell yeah. And yeah, Fonzie, send me any info too you want. Well, I'll be sure to include it in the podcast description.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
You're 5-star, Eddie.
Yeah, you know what?
You're a great host.
Hey, thank you very much. Rob, did you want to do some sort of ideology, or we can wait till next week? It's up to you.
I'm going to leave some words.
I like it. Let's leave some words. All right, Rob, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So we talked, I mentioned a few times, it's think about if you want to be that person, and if you do, then I get it, because it's a non-accountable world that we live in now. But I try to get people to think beyond that, because really you're a real person, and everything that you do affects the life that you end up having. And there's a theory that no matter where you go, you got yourself there. I'm not saying that there's not victims of circumstances, but if you really break it down to literal senses, they got themselves there. So when I'm reading the comments on my match that I had with AEW, there's like, for every from what I read, it was almost all positive. So I just want to say, maybe from every 20, oh my God, fucking great. RVD, so inspiring. Wow, dude, you still move crazy. There's gonna be one person that wants to take a negative approach. And like, why would you want to be the thorn that's the pain in the ass? because I always wonder, like, did they read the other comments? And it's not just about stating someone's opinion. It's not. It gets worse. And how I deal with it, Katie taught me to do this. When it's on social media, we just heart it anyway, because we laugh. Do you think we care if you don't like us? Because if that's why you're doing it, is because you don't like us and want us to know or something, then whatever. But Katie taught me this, because on Instagram she'll go through it and like all the comments, and there'll be people plastic shaming her, like, ooh, more plastic than my trash bag, whatever. And then she'll go through and like it, and they'll go, I didn't mean for that to be a compliment. And she'll go through and like that one too. She just laughs at it, and that's really the best attitude that you can take, I think. So I do that too. So if you see that I liked your comments, that doesn't mean I agreed with them. I could have laughed at them. It depends. But there was a comment. Someone said, I mentioned that the day that we found out about Vince's, allegations. It was a really weird day. We woke up and I found out 2 people that we know died. And there was one comment: how could you relate a porn star's death to Vince's allegation charges? And like, I don't know if that person knows just how much ignorance they have, because that's like, it's almost like a separated world. And I'll explain that in a second. But, people want to be able to put people underneath them. Their egos want them to feel better about themselves. So sometimes maybe they think porn stars, for whatever reason, are less human than them. Hey, I might live at home with my mom and be broke and be 35, but at least I'm not a porn star. Meanwhile, a girl that's in adult film that doesn't have the same values as him, so she's not ashamed of it, she's okay with it, is hanging out by the pool, getting the sun in Mexico, loving her job, making money, and even has fans, and nobody knows who the fuck you are. So for you to try to throw somebody under the bus and expect everyone to get the same weight on it that you're trying to throw, it doesn't work that way. And I'm going to say again, why do you want to be that person? People like to hear what you like a lot more than what you don't like. Keep that in mind. And there's a time and place for everything, and everything, of course, is circumstantial. But I'll see comments in sometimes in my posts, Instagram or whatever, where they'll say, ooh, his girl, she's something about plastic or whatever. And so I laugh, and then I just heart it. Now, what do you think I'm going to think about the person that said that, though? Why would you want somebody to think of you as being that person? Is it because you want attention so much that even bad attention is worth it? Are you a big enough mark to where it'd be worth it to have people talking about you, even if it was the fact that Vince took a dump on your head? I think a lot of people would. They'd be like, hey, at least I would mean something. I would have validation. People would know I exist. And, that's kind of pathetic. And I get where people do feel like they don't mean anything, but it's still just your ego telling you that you're above people that you're not. Trying to put them underneath you because of something that only you feel makes you a basic thinker, because they don't have the same values as you. So you're unhappy basically for them having a much happier life, and you're the one that's feeling grief about it and negative energy. And here's what I meant by almost living in a separate world. A lot of people talk to me for positive influence, advice, stuff like that. I've heard this so many times from those people that are in those discussions with me, people that want to be more positive and want to grow spiritually as a person. And this is what I hear from a lot of them. I can't be around negative people anymore, bro. I just can't do it. As soon as someone opens their mouth, they want to start talking about, oh, this is fucked up. I got to leave. You don't know how many people there are like that. But if you're one of those negative people, oh, Fonzie just FaceTime me. Did you cut him off?
No, I didn't cut him off. He exited out, though.
Hey, Fonzie, Daddy.
Hey, Daddy.
I'm still talking. I'm almost done. You want to wait? Yeah, Daddy. Thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah, I had a fucking good time with you guys. I was just telling my wife said you guys went 2 hours. I said,
Yeah.
But I was a part of it for 2 hours. We were flowing pretty good, talking a lot. We covered a lot, and it was good PR for me. And then you got it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm still talking. We're gonna wrap it up right here because you're right. It has been a really long one, but I appreciate it, dude. I'll talk at you soon. And that's right. I got to get Sabu, so I got to hit my workout.
Yeah,
Nice talking.
Tell him I'll see him next week in Boston. And thanks, Dominic.
You're welcome, Fonzie. My pleasure, man.
Log my number in your phone. You call me anytime.
All right, you too, brother.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon, RVD.
Okay, see you, Daddy. Thank you.
Thanks,
Love
Daddy.
you. Yeah. So anyway, I think if you don't get where I was going, I don't need to go on and on and on. But when it comes to do you think that we care about you liking us? What I'm thinking of from that is that people have different values, and so they don't like people based on their values. But we don't have your values, so we can like ourselves, even if you don't. But you looking down on us is ridiculous with our values. And that's what you got to realize, is that everyone's got their own perspective. Everyone's got their own values. Do you know that actors used to be looked down upon? Actors in Hollywood, hotels, restaurants used to have signs that said no actors allowed. They weren't liked. Why? Because they were not cohesive with the Christian ways. They stayed up at night, worked during the night sometimes, and slept in the day. That alone was the devil's work back in a certain day. And, not to mention they partied. Hey, you know what? That changed. People love actors now. They look at them like gods and give them billions of dollars. Just because someone doesn't like you doesn't mean that you should let it change or affect you. Even let it affect if you like them or not. I've said that a few times. There's certain people that dude's energy turns me off. He could be my biggest fan. I'll feel the same way. And I feel the opposite. Suppose I like people, and I'm like, even if they said they didn't like me, I would still appreciate the same things about them. Anyway, that's RVDology. And I'm just saying, it's your ego that tells you that you're above other people, only because your ego only knows your values. You know what else your ego tells you? That you would kill somebody if you're mad enough. What's that about? Do you ever see people that want to fight? Why are they so sure that they can kill the other one, even if they've never been in a fight before. That's always weird to me. Like, oh yeah, fucking come over here and say that again. Say that again. I dare you. I will fuck you up. It's like that rage takes over and you don't have common sense anymore. It's so weird when people are so sure. I love it when I see people like that get knocked out. Boom. I love it. It's like instant karma. And it's also a lesson. Don't let the ego get the best of you. You know, I don't know if you're better than everybody else. For me, I feel like I'm only as good as my last match. What if my match wouldn't have gone good? What would people be saying if I would have slipped and got hurt one time? Or what if I was having a hard time breathing because whatever, I had a cold or something? Everyone would be like, oh, man, he's blowed up. He can't go the way you believe half of what you see. Or no, half of what you hear, none of what you see. Is that what it is?
I think so. Yes. I think that sounds right.
Dude, that's a good thing to go by. I'm always trying to tell you, you don't know what you think you know. There's a much bigger picture. I will destroy you. What is it with that? Even when it comes to authority, if you ever hear somebody say this, oh yeah, well, that's fine but anytime you try to come up against me, you are going to lose every single time. What kind of ego does it take to come at someone like that? I mean, you were trying to dominate the fuck out of them. So if that's like a dad telling his little kid not to be mouthy or something, then I guess I get it. Not a parent. I would hate that. But otherwise, you're just trying to take all of their energy by intimidating them. And I don't see that as a good thing. I don't see rage as a good thing. Emotion overrules logic. I'd rather stay calm, use my logic, and also my own values. And you're welcome to your values. Judge me by them, please. That's all I got for you.
Yep. People live in their bubbles and they think they know what they're talking about, and there's a much bigger picture. Always a much bigger picture. Cool, Rob. Good shit today. It was a lot of fun having Fonzie on. He was great stuff, man. So, yeah, good stuff. So, yeah, that was good. So, yeah, when you're writing stuff out there and putting stuff out into the universe, sometimes ask yourself, do I want to be that guy? Even if you're a girl. I'm using guy as a sexually interchangeable term here. Yes. See? Yeah. Always think about it, because you want attention. What are you doing the negative stuff for? It's like, or you're just a negative person. Really worth saying that, you know? Yeah. Why put that out there? But yeah. And if you think I'm just keeping it honest, sometimes shutting your mouth isn't dishonest. Right. There you go. That's it. All right, cool. Thanks, Dom. Appreciate you, dude. You're welcome. Appreciate you too, Rob. It's been a good show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week here on One of a Kind. Sweet.